Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Bam Adebayo hints at major offseason changes for Heat after getting swept by Cavs. The Cleveland Cavaliers swept the Miami Heat in record-breaking fashion in the first round of the 2025 playoffs, and Bam Adebayo thinks many changes are coming this offseason. In his press conference after a 138-83 loss in Game 4, Adebayo suggested Heat president Pat Riley is going to be busy making moves in the coming months. What needs to change? Adebayo asked. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of changes this summer. Just from my point of view, understanding how the guy with the silver hair works. So, just be prepared for that. After making 2 trips to the NBA Finals in 2020 and 2023, the Heat have now been bounced out in the first round in back-to-back seasons. You could excuse losing in 5 games to the Boston Celtics in 2024 as Jimmy Butler was out with an injury, but there really isn't any excuse for losing the way they did to the Cavaliers. This was the most dominant sweep in NBA history, as the Cavaliers' combined margin of victory was 122 points, a new record. As Adebayo, who averaged 17.5 points, 11.0 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1.0 steals, and 0.3 blocks per game in the postseason, stated, Riley isn't going to twiddle his thumbs after a hammering like that. The question, though, is, can the Heat really do anything to turn their fortunes significantly? They finished 10th in the East in 2024-25 with a 35-47 record and only made the playoffs via the play-in tournament. This wasn't a case of a team being significantly better than their record indicated, as evidenced by the series against the Cavaliers. In simple terms, the Heat are lacking when it comes to talent. Sure, they have a few good players in Adebayo, Tyler Herro, and Andrew Wiggins to go with quality youngsters like Kel'el Ware and Jamie Jaquez Jr., but there isn't much else. This roster needs a star to take them to where Riley wants them to be, and we listed out 7 ideal targets for the Heat this offseason. Trading for any of them would be a step in the right direction. The man at the top of that list is Kevin Durant, and they could potentially put together a solid package for him. The problem for the Heat if they pursue Durant or any other big name is that there are teams that have more valuable assets than they do. A couple of first-round picks, and rotation pieces would be the best they'll be able to offer. Teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Houston Rockets would be able to put much better offers on the table. So, unless Riley is able to magically pull off a trade for a big name, the Heat are likely to be mediocre in 2025-26 as well. It will be interesting to see what the 80-year-old accomplishes this offseason. While the Heat face uncertainty heading into the offseason, their former star is putting on a show in the playoffs. It was perhaps somewhat fitting that on the day that the Heat lost by 55 points and got swept, Butler helped the Golden State Warriors take a 3-1 lead over the Rockets. One wonders what might have been if he and Riley hadn't clashed and he were still leading the Heat. Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith roast all of South Florida after Miami Heat blowout. There is never a dull moment during the Inside the NBA show on TNT. The crew of Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny Smith rarely hold anything back. On Monday, they took aim at the Miami Heat. The Heat lost 138-83 against the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 4 of their first-round series in the Eastern Conference playoffs. The Cavs won 4-0 in one of the most lopsided series in league history. Afterward, the show posted a photo of Pat Riley, Bam Adebayo, Eric Spoelstra, and others riding on a banana boat to show it was time for the offseason. We had the banana boat, Smith said. Pat Riley, my guy, it just wasn't a good night tonight. Then Barkley chimed in, that was as ugly of a performance I've seen in a long time. It wasn't enough to poke fun at the current Heat team. They went everyone associated with South Florida, including Heat legend Dwayne Wade, NFL Hall of Famer Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins, singer Gloria Estefan and rapper Pitbull. This is the Heat's second straight year of getting blown out of the postseason. Last year they were dispatched easily by the Boston Celtics. Trey Young trade idea to land star guard with Miami Heat. The Atlanta Hawks must decide on the fate of all-star point guard Trey Young. The time is near to commit to him long-term or move on. The Miami Heat are invested in players like Bam Adebayo and all-star Tyler Herro, but don't have Jimmy Butler to drag the group to the NBA Finals anymore. Could the two teams that fought in the play-in for the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference execute a young blockbuster this summer as the Hawks retool and Miami reloads? Atlanta Hawks receive Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, Jamie Jaquez Jr., Nikola Jovic, Pelle Larsson, 2025 number 20, Golden State Warriors, Miami 2030 protected first-rounder, $19.4 million trade exception Miami Heat receive, Trey Young note, the trade wouldn't be executed until July 6, after the NBA's annual moratorium. The Miami 2030 first-rounder would have lottery protection in the first year, then go unprotected in 2031 to Atlanta. The assumption is that Robinson won't use his early termination option on his $19.9 million salary. Once he's officially locked in for 2025 to 26, only $9.9 million will be guaranteed. Terry Rozier's $26.6 million is almost entirely guaranteed, $24.9 million, but Miami locks in the full amount prior to the trade. Atlanta would use the DeJounte Murray trade exception, otherwise, expiring on July 7, for Robinson and Jovic. The Hawks would have a $1.5 million balance on the Cody Zeller trade exception, expiring February 6, 26, for Larsson and a $9.2 million balance on the Bojan Bogdanovic trade exception, also February 6, 26. The $19.4 million trade exception generated in the deal would be for Young, less Rozier's salary. Miami triggers a second apron hard cap in the deal via aggregation. Atlanta would have a first apron hard cap for using pre-existing trade exceptions. Young would receive a, relatively, small trade bonus, just under $400,000. The Atlanta Hawks are a curiosity after letting go of top basketball decision-maker Landry Fields. The team consistently is a middle-of-the-pack entry, either losing in the play-in tournament or the first round. The 2020-21 run to the Eastern Conference Finals was so long ago that it shouldn't be used to judge the merits of the current roster. Young is the Hawks' best player, but are they ready to reinvest? He's entering his final year at $46 million, assuming he opts out of his final year's $49 million to explore free agency in 2026, when several teams project to have spending power. If the answer is yes, then never mind. However, several competing executives aren't sold that Young will be in Atlanta beyond his current deal. The Hawks are likely to bring in a new president of basketball operations to work with new general manager Onsi Sala to make the call on Young. Regarding the return from Miami, Young is a polarizing player who can also scare off teams he doesn't favor, similar to how De'Aaron Fox landed in San Antonio from the Sacramento Kings. The market may be drier than Hawks fans hope. Atlanta gets 3 young players in Jaquez, Jovic and Larsson. The contracts of Rozier and Robinson are expiring and can be flipped in subsequent moves. The Hawks also land an immediate first-round pick and a future one from Miami. While Atlanta might seek more from the Heat or other suitors, the Heat's return is on par with what the Kings got for Fox. And you fan? What do you think about Trae Young's situation? Write to us in the comments.